mind, man. That is
Kalamalni ji, we are live. You can set up.
Okay, yeah.
You can start, sir.
But Vasant Lakshmi has not joined, na?
She has not joined.
Okay. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम् सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् वसुदेवसुतम् देवम् कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णम् वन्दे जगद्गुरुम् With the abundant blessings of our Acharya Swamiji, we are continuing with our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita with special emphasis on the commentary of Sri Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada. We are in chapter 18. We have come up to shloka number 41. In chapter 18 so far, what Bhagavan has covered is the answer to the question of Arjuna on the distinction between Tyaga and Sannyasa. Then, as far as Karma Yogi is concerned, which is the subject under discussion, there is no great difference between Tyaga and Sannyasa. He has made that point clear. Because for Karma Yogi, action cannot be renounced. Yajnodana tapachaiva pavanani manishina kartavyani iti kritva. You have to do this. Yajna, dana, and tapas. So, having defined basic karmas which are to be done by an aspirant on the path of spirituality, then what is karma? He went into the analysis of karma, the 5 causes which make a karma achieve success. Then he went on with relating karma to the 3 qualities, sattva, rajas, and tamas, because everything is dictated by the 3 qualities, sattva, rajas, and tamas. All thoughts, all actions, all words are governed by these 3 qualities. So karma is not immune from the effects of these qualities. So jnana, karma, karta, they are all categorized into 3 categories based on the qualities. Then Bhagavan went on to define buddhi, dhriti, sukham, all of them based on the qualities. Then he went on to say that he has created four varnas based on the qualities that inhere in the particular individual, having regard to the qualities which he has inherited in the from the previous birth. Then he mentioned these four varnas. Now he is going to tell us the distinct qualities, distinct activities that are associated with these four varnas. Now these four varnas are based on the quality guna karma vibhagashaha. Based on the guna, karma is allotted. That is what Bhagavan said. Now let us go to shloka number 42.
Namaskaram. Shemodamastapa shaucham kshantirajavamev cha jnanam vijnanamastikyam brahma karma swabhavajam.
First he takes up the first varna, brahmanas. Brahma karma swabhavajam. Based on the swabhava, the inherent nature of brahmanas, which we saw in the explanatory note to the previous sloka, Bhagavan Shankara said that brahmanas are defined by the predominance of sattva guna. So swabhava is dictated by sattva guna. And accordingly, their karmas have been identified, allotted. Brahma karma swabhavajam, based on born of their swabhava. What are the karmas? Now, this list looks like not like karmas, this looks like mental attitudes and mental persuasions. But he says Brahma karma. Why? Because karma is dictated by the attitude, by the mental dispensation. So he is defining the dispensation. Naturally, karma gets defined automatically. With this attitude, it is very difficult to do a Kshatriya's karma or a Vaishya's karma or a Shudra's karma. That is what he is having in mind. What are those mental attitudes? Samaha, Damaha, Tapaha, Shaucham, Shantihi, Arjamam, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikyam. These are the attitudes defining the karmas. Samaha is controlling the mind. Damaha is controlling the sense organs. Now, if you see the Jnana Marga, because ultimately we have to go to Jnana Marga, which Bhagavan is going to explain in the next few slokas. All efforts as a karma yogi are directed towards attaining jnana. Finally, we have to tread the path of jnana to reach Paramatma. So, in Jnana Marga, this is well defined. First step is Viveka and Vairagya, then Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. There, Sama and Dhamma come. These are the two qualities which Bhagavan has picked up out of those six. The six are Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Samadhana, and Shraddha. Shama is control of the mind, Dhamma is control of sense organs, Uparati is withdrawal of the mind from external objects. Titiksha Bhagavan himself has defined in a previous law. When Sukha and Dukha are faced by the human being, be equanimous. Samadhana is focusing the mind on Paramatma. Shraddha is having full faith in what the Shastra says and what Guru says. Because without full faith, the Samadhana will not be effective. It will deviate. That is why Samadhana is followed immediately by Shraddha. These are the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. This is followed by the final quality called Mumukshutva, that is the ardent desire to get moksha. Now, ardent desire to get moksha is, of course, vital. Otherwise, Jnana Marga is not going to be effective. Now, Bhagavan has picked up the two basic qualities out of the six, Samadhi, Shatka, Sampatti, because other four will follow if you do these two. This is the beauty of these qualities. If you concentrate on one or two, a lot of the others will follow automatically. Similarly, tapaha. Tapas is we have seen before. Disciplining of the body, of the mind by various means, upavasa, vrata, etc., etc., japa, etc. Shaucham, purity, internal purity as well as external purity, bodily purity as well as purity of the mind. How do you achieve purity of the mind? By entertaining only noble thoughts. Always avoid ignoble thoughts. That is purity of the mind. For that, keep the mind active. Keep the mind, that is what all Shastras say. Keep the mind active, never allow the mind to be idle. Idle mind is the workshop for all this, evil thoughts. So, keep the mind active and keep the mind focused on Paramatma. Shantihi. Shantihi is forbearance, Kshama. If somebody is offensive to us, we don't keep that in mind. No, that adds only impurity to our mind. With great difficulty, we have achieved Shaucham. No, that will go if we do not practice Shanti. Arjamam, straightforwardness. That is, of course, easily understood. Unless we are straightforward in our attitude and activities, we cannot continue on the path. Continuing on the path, even in continuing in a job, requires straightforwardness. As mundane as a job requires continuity of straightforwardness. If you are not straightforward, you may succeed for 1 month, for 2 months, for 6 months. Afterward, you will be caught. So, straightforwardness, sticking to the rules, sticking to Shastras, Mano, Vak, Kaya, mentally as well as by words as well as by body. That is Arjav. Jnanam, knowing all about Paramatma. That is Jnanam. Vijnanam is bringing that knowledge into experience. Experiencing Atma, that is Vijnana. Knowing about Atma is Jnana. Astikyam. Astikyam is full faith. Like it follows from Shraddha actually. What that Samadhi, Shatka Sampati called as Shraddha is more or less same as Astikyam. Asti iti Astikyam. Asti iti Vishwasaha Astikyam. That is full faith in what the Shastras say. Shraddhadhanata agamartheshu. Shankara himself defines. Astika bhavaha. Agamartheshu. What Shastra says, what Shastra conveys. Tatparya. Having full faith. These are the Brahma karma. Now, Manusmriti defines Brahmana's karmas as 6. This is very famous, though Bhagavan has not mentioned it here. Those 6 are derived from these mental attitudes, and those 6 are repeated many, many times in many, many Shastras. Manusmriti defines those 6. Adhyapanam, Adhyayanam, Yajanam, Yajanam, Tatha, Danam, Pratigraham, Chaiva, Brahmananam, Akalpayate, Brahmananam, Akalpayate. Brahma has defined these 6 as the duties of Brahmanas. What says? Adhyapanam, Adhyayanam, study of Vedas and teaching of Vedas. Where study is not enough, teaching is important because the tree of Vedas has to be protected in perpetuity. How do you do that? Unless you teach Shikshas. In fact, that is true of any knowledge. Shastra is very clear, saying that any knowledge which is with you should be taught to someone else, at least one person. You should teach before you die. This is Shastra's dictate. Adhyapanam, Adhyayanam. Because there may be many people who may be very proficient in Vedas. In earlier times also they were there. Many Vedas they would have, many Veda Shakhas they would have mastered. Many Shastras they would have mastered. But they may not have had the opportunity to teach. But that is not correct. So teaching is important. Yajanam, Yajanam. Performing yajna. Because unless you perform yajna as stipulated in Shastras, your mind will not get purified to the extent it would do through the yajnas. So, yajnas are important for purification of the mind. So, similarly, just as study of Vedas and teaching of Vedas go together, similarly, performance of yajnas by yourself as well as making others perform. Because Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are expected to perform yagas. They are not supposed to teach others. So who will teach them? Who will enable them to perform? Who will be the purohits for them? Brahmanas should be the purohits. Yajanam, yajanam, tatha. Danam, pratigraham chaiva. You should give danam. You should also accept danam, pratigraham. Giving danam and accepting danam. These are the duties of only Brahmana. Danam and pratigraham are not stipulated for other varnas. Adhyapanam, Adhyayanam, Yajanam, Yajanam are not stipulated for other varnas. What is stipulated for other varnas is Adhyayanam, Dhanam, Yajanam. These three are stipulated for them. That is, performing the yagas, study of Vedas, and giving Dhanam. That is for Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. Of course, for the last varna, Adhyayanam is also not stipulated. So he says, जात्या कुलेन वृत्तेन स्वाध्यायेन श्रुतेन च येभिर्युक्तो हि यस्तिष्ठेन् नित्यं तद्विज उच्यते येभिर्युक्तः यः नित्यं तिष्ठेत् always be steady in these activities जात्या कुलेन वृत्तेन स्वाध्यायेन श्रुतेन च by the caste in which you were born, by the family in which you were born, by your activity, vrittena, by your activity. You may be born in a family, but you may be doing something else, like it is happening now. So, by your activity, swadhyaya, by your study of Vedas, shrutena cha, by listening to various ethical shastras, etc. So, these are the activities which you must concentrate upon for continuing to be a Brahmana. Yastishte nityam sadvija uchyate. I have picked up a couple of Niti Shatakam slokas. Dakshinyam sajane daya parajane shathyam jane durjane priti sadhu jane smaya khalajane vidvajane charjavam शौर्यं शत्रुजने क्षमा गुरुजने नारीजने धूर्तता के चैवं पुरुषाः कलासु कुशलाः तेष्वेव लोकस्थितिः. Bhartrihari is defining certain activities and he says only those who are proficient in these activities, kalasu kushalaha, teshvevi lokasthitihi. The stability of this world is dependent on these people who are proficient in these activities. Dakshinyam swajane. With your own people, you must practice compassion, broad-mindedness. Daya parajane. That is swajana and parajana. Your own people and those who are outside of your circle, maybe outside your family, outside of your friend circle, etc. To them, you should show compassion. For the first people, you are showing generosity. Second set of people, you are showing compassion. Shathyam sada durjane. If you come across evil people, you should show your evil nature to them. Shathyam. You should show your evil nature to them. That is the way of the world. Preet is sadhu jane. Similarly, when you come across virtuous people, show kindness. Maya khala jane, vidvat jane charjavam. When you come across evil people, show anger. Another version is Nayo Drupajane. Drupajane is Drupa is king, the staff of the king, the people who are working with the king. When you meet them, be nice to them. Vidvajjane charjavam. When you meet scholars, be very straightforward. Never practice any cheating with scholars. Sauryam shatrujane. When you meet enemies, show your valor, courage. Kshama gurujane. When you meet gurus, show humility, forbearance. They may sometimes be harsh with you. Bear with that. Guru's harshness is only for our welfare. So bear with it. Be humble. Kanta jane drishtata, nari jane dhurtata, both mean the same more or less. With women, he says you should be clever because women are supposed to be very clever, so be clever with them. These are the fine arts, kalaha. These are the fine arts which one should develop. If the world has to stay safe, for world safety depends on these issues. Another one. Kare Shaghyastyaga Sirasi Gurupada Pranayita Mukhe Satyavani Vijaya Bhujayor Viryamatulam Shriti Swachhavrittihi Shrutam Adhigatam Shravanayoho Vinapya Ishwaryena Prakriti Mahatam Mandaranidam. Prakriti Mahatam Mandanam Idam. Those who are great by nature, Prakriti Mahatam. By nature, they are not great. They are great. They are not acquired, it's not made up greatness. They are by nature great. For them, Idam Mandanam, this is the decoration for them. Vinapi Aishwaryena. They may not have wealth the way we understand wealth. They may not have wealth, but they are highly decorated. Decoration goes with wealth. King is very well decorated. Rich people are well decorated. So that is the meaning here, Mandana. But without all that pomp, without all that wealth, these people are highly decorated. What makes them decorated? Courage, yagya, tyagaha. In their hands is always sacrifice. Sacrifice which is being praised by everybody. Shlaghya tyagaha, sirasi gurupada pranayita. On their heads, they wear the feet of the Guru. They worship the feet of the Guru by having the feet on their heads. Mukhe satyavani. Whenever they will speak only truth. Vijaya bhujayor viryamatulam. In their two arms, they have great power. Atulam virya. Hridhi swacha vrittihi. In their heart, purity of attitude. Swacha vrittihi. Shrutam adhigatam cha shravanayoho. They use their ears not for hearsay and useless talk, but for listening to Shastra. Shrutam adhigatam cha shravanayoho. These are the decorations of great people. Vina Aishwaryena Prakriti Mahatam Mandanamidam. So, these Niti Shatakam slokas explain to us what these high qualities expected of Brahmanas are defined as Samodamastapashaucham Kshantiradhyamamev cha Jnanam Vijnanamastikyam Brahma Karma Svabhavajam.
शौर्यं तेजो धृतिर्दाक्ष्यं युद्धे चाप्यपलायनं दानमीश्वरभावश्च क्षात्रं कर्म स्वभावजम्.
Kshatram karma svabhavajam, like Brahma karma svabhavajam. What is the karma born of the nature for a Kshatriya? Their nature dictates karmas, what those karmas are. Again, here more than karmas, mental attitudes have been defined, but some karmas have also been included. But it is very clear. We all know what is Kshatriya's duty. Kshatat trayate iti kshatriyaha. Shastra defines like that. Kshatriya is defined as one who protects people from harm. Kshatat trayate iti kshatriyaha. That is the definition. So for protecting others, you must have enough capability. These are the capabilities. Shauryam tejaha dhritihi dakshyam yuddhecha api apalayanam. Shauryam. Shauryam is being shura, being courageous, valorous. Tejaha, brilliant. That is, your power is such that it is very clear to the enemy. By looking at you, he knows you are very powerful. That is tejaha. Your willpower is very clear from your demeanor. That is tejaha. Dhritihi. Dhriti is the resolution, resolute will. Tejaha is the ability. Dhriti is the resoluteness. Dakshyam is the skill. See, Tejaha is the basic ability. Dakshyam is the skill in employing weapons, skill in organizing the army, skill in knowing what the enemy is going to do, etc., spying, etc. They're all coming under skill, Dakshyam. Yuddhe cha api apalayanam. When you are faced with a war, don't run away. Palayanam is running away. Apalayanam, not running away. Face the enemy. Even if you are going to face defeat, even if you know you are going to face defeat, face the enemy. That is Kshatriya's requirement. That is courage. Dhanam Ishvara Bhavascha. Dhanam Deya Dravyeshu Muktahastata. Whatever you want to give in Dhanam, give it with an open hand. Muktahastata means what? With an open mind. Give it with a big heart and with open hands. Muktahastata. Deya Dravyeshu. Whatever you want to give. It may be a very small article. It may be a very huge donation. Whatever it is. Whatever you give it with a broad mind, big heart, and open hands. That is dhanam. Ishvara, because that is required for a kshatriya, because in olden days, it is the king who was protecting everyone. When there was a famine, it is the king's duty to feed the people. How he feeds is his job. Similarly, all the people should be prosperous. Nobody should suffer from hunger. Nobody should suffer from thirst. Nobody should suffer from lack of housing, etc., etc. Basic necessities should be fulfilled. That is all the duty of Kshatriya, the king and his staffs. Dhanam Ishvara Bhavascha Prabhu Shakti Prakatikaranam Ishitavyan Prati. That means Ishvara Bhava is lordship. That means those who are subordinate to you under your own kingdom, in your own kingship, plus outside kings who are subservient to you. All of them should recognize you as their boss. That is Ishvara Bhava. There should be no doubt in their mind that you are the Ishvara. You are the Lord. Prabhu Shakti Prakatikaranam Ishitavyan Prati. These are the activities of Kshatriya. Now Manusmriti gives it in greater detail. Prajanam Rakshanam Danam Yajya Jayanameva Cha Vishayesh Aprasiktischa Kshatriyasya Samasataha. Prajanam Rakshanam. First duty, protecting the citizens. Danam, giving charity. Yajya Adhyayanam. Yajya is performing yagas. Adhyayanam is study of Vedas. Out of the 6 which are assigned to the Brahmana, 3 have been assigned to Kshatriya as well as Vaishya. That is performing yagas, study of Vedas, and giving charity, giving dhanam. Vishayeshu aprasiktischa. This is very difficult and very important. A king will naturally roll in pleasures and wealth, isn't it? We all have heard of that. The king's palaces, the king's pomp, all that we know. That is not the defining characteristic of a king. What is the defining characteristic of a king? Vishayashu aprasiktischa, like Janaka. Janaka was also a king. There was no dearth of splendor and pomp in his kingship, in his kingdom. No dearth. He was rolling in wealth, but how he was rolling? Vishayashu aprasiktischa. He never had any attachment to mundane objects. So that is required for every Kshatriya, because after all, everyone, if you go to the further shlokas, everyone has to advance on the spiritual path. That is Bhagavan's wish and aim. That is the aim of the human birth, isn't it? If you are born as a human, you have to advance on spiritual path. The Kshatriya rolling in wealth, how will he advance on spiritual path if he is very much attached to his possessions? That is why this point has come up in Manusmriti. Vishayeshu aprasiktischa. Now, Bhartrhari, being a king, turned into a mendicant. He has written a lot about kings. So, some of the shlokas I have to class. Because some of them he has given in jest humor, some of them he has given in detail about the duties of a king, about attitudes, etc., etc. The first one is a little lighter vein he has written. Satyartha parusha priyavadini cha himsadayaluраpi charthaparavadanyam nityavyaya prachura nitya dhanagama cha varanganeva nripati aneka rupa. Nripanitihi aneka rupa. The policy of a king takes various forms because he deals with different types of situations. He deals with different types of enemies, both internally, inside the kingdom, as well as outside the kingdom. So he has to follow different types of policies with different people, with different situations. So he says, Satyarata cha parusha priyavadini cha satya anrita cha. He speaks truth, he also speaks untruth. Parusha priyavadini cha. He is very harsh. He is also very kind. He speaks very kind words. Himsa dayalurapi. He is very violent. He is very compassionate. Charthapara vadanya. Arthapara. He is very keen on accumulating wealth. Vadanya. He is very keen on giving away. Dhanam. Vadanya is great person of charity. Nityavyaya prachura nitya dhanagama. Nityavyaya. Spendthrift. Always spending. On the other hand, every day, every time, a lot of money is pouring inside his treasury. This kind of contrary qualities, aneka rupa, various facets of the king's policy. This is reminding the poet of Varanganeva. Varangana is a prostitute. Like a prostitute changes her colors. The king also changes his colors, but king does it in a proper manner. That is the idea conveyed by Bhartrhari. Next. न कश्चित् चण्डकोपानाम् आत्मीयो नाम भूभुजाम् होतारम् जिह्वतमपि पृष्ठो दहति पावकः चण्डकोपानाम् भूभुजाम्. Those kings who are terribly angry, those kings who are terribly angry, for them, nobody is their kith and kin. Na atmiyo nama. Nobody is their kith and kin. That king never treats anybody as his own. All of them he keeps at a distance because he is ever angry. For that he is giving, that is some stage of kingdom, these things happen. That is the idea. And for that he is giving an example. Hotaram japhvatamapi sprushto dahati pavakaha. When pavaka is Agni, when Agni is having huge flames, whoever touches that Agni, he is going to get hurt. Even if the person is the Yajamana himself, the Yajamana himself who is pouring ghee into the Agni, who is pouring the Ahuti into the Agni, by chance if he touches the Agni, will he not get hurt? So Agni is going to hurt anybody, even if that is the Yajamana. Hotaram Juhvatamapi. So similarly, for the king, there is nobody like his own. As the situation demands, he will change his color. Then, आज्ञाकीर्तिः पालनं सज्जनानां दानं भोगो मित्रसंरक्षणं च येषामेते षड्गुणा न प्रवृत्ताः कोऽर्थस्तेषां पार्थिवोपाश्रयेण. If you are dependent on a king, if you are subservient to a king, and if you have not attained these six characteristics, what is the use of your being a slave of a king? If you are a slave of a king, you should attain these six qualities. What are the six? Ajna. If you give the order, somebody should obey. Those who are supposed to obey you should obey. If you have not learnt it from the king, if you have not acquired this characteristic from the king, what is the use? Kirtihi. Similarly, fame you should have acquired. Palanam sajjananam, palanam brahmananam, palanam sajjananam. Good people protecting the virtuous. Dhanam, charity. Bhogaha, enjoyment. You should enjoy the wealth, you should also part with wealth. Mitra samrakshanancha, protecting the friends. If these six qualities you have not acquired, what is the use of your being subservient to a king? Parthiva upashrayena kim kortaha. Then स्पृहयति भुजयोरन्तरमायत करवाळकररुहविदीर्णम् विजयश्रीर्वीराणाम् युत्पुन्न प्रौढवनितेव. Again, if the king is courageous, valorous, Vijayashrihi Prahayati. Vijayashri, the victory, the woman called the victory, wishes to go near him, wishes to have his company. Victory wants to go near that king. Which king? Bhujayorantaram karavala kararuha vidirnam. His arms are decorated with nails which are so powerful that it will tear away the chest of the enemies. That is the idea. Like a sword. His nails are like swords. That kind of powerful arms he is having. Bhajayoho Archa. So that Vijayashri Vitpanna Praudha Vaniteva, like a woman who wants to marry a king. In a Swayamvara, a woman chooses a king who is courageous, powerful like that. Similarly, Vijayashri also chooses him. Then one more is there, I think. Yeah. दूरादर्थं घटयति नवं दूरतश्चापशब्दम् कृत्वा भूयो भवति निरतः तत्सभापादनेषु मन्दं मन्दं रचयति पदं लोकचित्तानुवृत्त्या कामं मन्त्री कविरिव तदा खेदभारैरमुक्तः. How a mantri behaves. This is the advice to a minister to a king, how he should behave. And he is compared with a poet. Here, Bhartrhari, as a very accomplished poet, he is using words which apply to the poet as well as they are applicable to the minister. So both meanings are there for each expression. Duradartham ghatayate. From a long distance, he procures wealth. That is the minister's job. Like Arjuna, we said, no, Dhananjaya. He went and conquered kings in all four directions, brought a lot of wealth. Similarly, the mantri should arrange wealth from long distances. Similarly, a poet should durat artham ghatayati. Even remote meanings should be construed from his word, not just direct meaning, remote meanings also. Navam duratascha apashabdam. Duratascha apashabdam. He keeps ill fame at bay. He never allows ill fame to come anywhere near him. No ill fame will come to him. He is so clever that nobody can speak ill of him. Similarly, the poet sees that no apashabda comes into his poetry. Kritva bhuyo bhavati niratah satsabha padaneshu. Satsabha padaneshu. In the assembly of the virtuous people, bhuyo bhavati nirataha. He is always engaged in the assembly of virtuous people. That means he does not waste his time in the company of evil people or useless people, fools. He is always surrounded by good people so that he can pick up the good points from them. Similarly, the poet also goes after assembly of scholars because there he will learn as well as he can present his poetry. So he is also like that. Mandam mandam rachayate padam lokachintanuvritya. He takes every step very carefully, slowly, no hurry. Mandam mandam. Every step, padam rachayati. Lokachintanuvritya, because he is worried about the welfare of the people. The minister is responsible to the king, and the king is responsible for the welfare of the people. So, with the welfare of the people in mind, he takes step very carefully. Similarly, this poet also constructs each word of his poetry very carefully so that the poetry is not criticized by any great poets. That's the idea. Similarly, Kaviriva Mantri Kamam. Similarly, the Mantri is like a poet. Sada Khedabharehi Amuktaha. Always he is free from worries because he sticks to this routine. He is free from misery. He is free from worries. Now, these are some ideas about the king, the ministers, etc., which have been brought out by Bhartrhari in Niti Shatakam. शौर्यं तेजो धृतिः दाक्ष्यं युद्धे चाप्यपलायनं दानमेश्वरभावश्च क्षात्रं कर्म स्वभावजम्.
कृषि गौरक्ष्य वाणिज्यं वैश्यकर्म स्वभावजम् परिचर्यात्मकं कर्म शूद्रस्यापि स्वभावजम्.
Vaishya karma svabhavajam. What is the karma which is allotted to Vaishya, driven by the nature, his own nature? Krishi, Gauraksha, Vanijyam. Three activities have been assigned to him. Krishi is agriculture. Gauraksha is looking after cattle, rearing of cattle, cows and other cattle wealth. Vanijyam is trade and commerce. So these are the activities for Vaishya. Agriculture and protecting the implements for agriculture, that is Gauraksha. Protecting the implements for agriculture as well as for other industry. All are coming under this Gauraksha. Though directly it means protecting of cows. In this context, it should be understood as meaning of not only cattle, rearing of cattle, also protecting of all implements. Vanijyam, trading. In those days also, even in earlier times, Vaishyas were known as good traders, taking materials from one corner of the earth to another corner. They were known for it. That is what he is referring to here. Paricharyatmakam karma Shurudrasyapi Svabhavajam. For Shudra, born out of his own nature, what is the karma allotted? Paricharyatmakam Shushrusha Svabhavam. Serving the other three varnas, whatever the other three varnas are doing, helping them in that activity. Whether it is a Brahmana's activity, whether it is a Kshatriya's activity, whether it is a Vaishya's activity, go and help. That is and accordingly, the person who is receiving the help will see that you are paid accordingly so that your family will not suffer. That's the idea. So, this is mentioned in Manusmriti also. Pashunam rakshanam dhanamidhyadhyayaname च वाणिक्पथम कुतीदम च वैश्यस्य कृषिमेव च. For Vaishya, Krishi has put at the end, Krishimeva cha, he said, agriculture. Pasunam rakshanam, same as Gauraksha, cattle wealth, protecting. Danam, Vidya, Adhyayanam, the three which were mentioned for Kshatriya, that is giving Danam, performing yajnas, and study of Vedas. Vanik Patham, engage in Vanijyam, what he has called here. Engaging in trade. Kusidam cha, Kusidam is money lending for interest, money lender. That is also permitted for a Vaishya. That is not permitted for others. That is why it is mentioned for Manusmriti. वैश्यस्य कृषिमेव च एकमेव तु शूद्रस्य प्रभुः समादिशत् एतेषामेव वर्णानां शुश्रूषाम् अनसूयया. For Shudra, there is only one karma Bhagavan has allotted, that is, these three varnas, please go and help them, serve them. Anasuyaya, without any ill will. Without any ill will, without any envy, go and help them. By doing all this, what will happen? Now that is going to be taken up next. By doing all these karmas, whatever karmas you have allotted, what I am going to get if I follow those karmas? That is the next. Go on.
स्वे स्वे कर्मण्यभिरतः संसिद्धिं लभते नरः स्वकर्मनिरतः सिद्धिं यथा विन्दति तच्छृणु.
In one sentence, Bhagavan has brought out a very basic idea. Swe swe karmani abhirataha. If you are engaged in your karma allotted to you, samsiddhim naraha labhate, you will attain perfection. You will attain moksha. By doing the karma allotted to you, you will attain moksha. Correct? By doing the karma allotted to me, how I will attain moksha? So I will explain that also. Swakarma niratasthidhyam yatha avindati tachrunu. Swakarma nirataha. One who is engaged in the karma allotted to him. Swakarma. Yatha siddhim vindati. How he will attain perfection. Perfection here means And in this context, perfection means chitta shuddhi. Jnana nishtha yogyata lakshanam samsiddhim. Ashuddhi kshaye sati kayendriyanam. Swakarma anushtanat. By performing the karmas allotted to you, the body and the sense organs will get purified, and because of the purification, your mind will be receptive to jnana. Jnana nishtha yogyata lakshana samsiddhim. That is the samsiddhim Bhagavan is referring to here. Shankara has explained. Ultimately, it will lead to moksha, but before that, you have to be qualified to receive that jnana, isn't it? By purifying yourself. So that purity will happen and you will attain the necessary qualifications to receive the jnana. For all varnas. No, here no one says Brahmana only will. This is the beauty of this varnashrama dharma. There is no negativity associated with any varna or any ashrama. It is only duties that have been allotted. All the four varnas are equally entitled. Sve sve karmani abhirataha. If you are engaged in the karma allotted to you, Bhagavan makes it very clear. Then automatically your mind will get purified and you will be able to receive jnana. How this will happen? By doing the karma, how I will get jnana? That I am going to explain. Yatha vindati tatu shrunu. That process, how you will get. Because why this question has come up, Shankara is explaining in a little bit of detail. He says, एतेषां जातिविहितानां कर्मणां सम्यगनुष्ठितानां स्वर्गप्राप्तिः फलं स्वभावतः. Shastras are very clear that if you do the karma allotted to you as per your varna properly, you will go to Swarga. On that there is no doubt. Shastra is very clear. And he is quoting from Gautama Dharma Sutra. Varna ashramascha sakarmanishtaha pekya karma phalam anubhuyat ततशेषेण विशिष्टदेश जातिकुलधर्मादि श्रुतवृत्तवित्तसुखभेदतः जन्म प्रतिपद्यन्ते. If you are carefully doing your activity as per your varna and ashrama, you will go to Swarga, enjoy Swarga, and then whatever balance of karma is there, you will be born in such a circumstance, in such a place, Vishishta Desha Jati Kula, in such a family, such a varna, that your dharma will increase, your life will increase, your learning will increase, your pleasures will increase, everything will increase. You will get higher level of everything. That Gautama is saying, but where he says that you will get Chitta Shuddhi and progress in Jnana Marga. Gautama is not saying that. So Bhagavan is saying that Ityadi Smritibhyaha Purane cha Varninam Ashraminam cha Loka Phala Bheda Vishesha Sparanat. This is the mundane outlook. Going to Swarga and coming here and enjoying the benefit. That mundane fruit has already been assured in Shastra. Bhagavan is going one step further. That one step further is this. Shloka number 45 is that one step further. That Shankara is making absolutely nicely very clear. Next.
यतः प्रवृत्तिर्भूतानां येन सर्वमिदं ततं स्वकर्मणा तमभ्यर्च्य सिद्धिं विन्दति मानवः.
That Siddhim Manavaha Vindati. That Siddhi the human being will get. Which Siddhi? Which Shankara explained as Jnana Nishtha Yogyata. The qualification for getting Jnana. That Siddhi he will get. How? Swakarmana tam abhyarcha. When you do the work allotted to you, Do it as a worship of Ishvara. That is the only clause now he has introduced. He is not saying Brahmana only will do Ishvara Archana. Kshatriya only will do Ishvara Archana. Vaishya only will do Ishvara Archana. Shudra only will do Ishvara Archana. No. Sakarmana tam abhyarche. Whatever activity has been allotted to you, do it as worship of Ishvara. That karma itself, you don't have to do a separate worship. This is a very important concept Bhagavan has brought in. Your duty is your worship. Work is worship, we say, isn't it? That work which has been allotted to you based on this Varnashrama Dharma, if you do as a worship, that is good enough. You have earned your mental purity, you have earned the qualification to get jnana. Once you get jnana, you will get moksha. That is the idea. So, you don't have to do anything else. What? Ishvara, tam abhyarcha, tam, that Ishvara. Which Ishvara? Yatah pravrittirbhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam. Yataha bhutanam pravritti. From whom all the beings came into being. Who created this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra? Who created them? Bhagavan only created it, isn't it? There is no separate Bhagavan for each of the Varnas. So all Varnas, all creation has happened from one source. That is Bhagavan. Kena sarvamidam tatam. Tatam means vyaptam. It is pervaded. This entire creation is pervaded by Bhagavan. Bhagavan created everything. Bhagavan entered into everything. Pervades everything. This concept has come again and again. So that Bhagavan who created you and who is inherent in you, that is why he has brought these 2 points. This applies to everybody. There is no Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra here. This applies to every creation, every object which has been created. That person, whichever Varna he belongs to, whichever ashrama he belongs to, if he performs his duty, thinking, I have been created by Bhagavan, Bhagavan has allotted to me this activity, and Bhagavan is inherent in me, and he is giving me the power to act. So, if he knows this and if he does his duty with a worshipful attitude, tam abhyarchya, then he becomes eligible for moksha, he attains jnana. This is the path which he said referred in the previous sloka. That path has been put in 2 words, Swakarmana tam abhyarchya. These 2 words specify that path. Prativarnam tam Ishwaram abhyarchya. This applies to every varna. No qualification here. All varnas should do their duty as worship. Jnananishta yogyata lakshanam siddhim vindati manavaha manushyaha. The jnananishta yogyata, that characteristic of being able to get jnana, that qualification for getting jnana, he will get. That is siddhi. That siddhi is this. Yata pravrittirbhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam sakarmana tamabhyarche siddhim vindati manavaha.
श्रेयान् स्वधर्मो विगुणः परधर्मात् स्वनुष्ठितात् स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Now, this point has been brought out earlier. Since chapter 18 is a summary of all the important concepts, this point has come up here once again. Because this is in the context of Swadharma. Because all the 4 varnas have been defined, all the 4 varnas, karmas have been identified, and Bhagavan has made it very clear. You do the work allotted to you and do it as worship. That is all you have to do, nothing more. Don't be envious of another varna, don't try to copy another varna, etc. So that point he has brought out here. Shreyan swadharma vigunaha swanushchitat paradharmat. Swadharmaha vigunaha. Even if you do your dharma improperly, vigunaha, not perfectly, with imperfection. If you do your work imperfectly, paradharmat sunushthitat. If I do someone else's dharma, when I'm a Kshatriya, I want to do a Brahmana dharma, but I can do very well. Don't do that. Paradharmat sunushthitat. Even if you are able to do that other man's dharma very well, that you should not do. Shreyan, this is better for you. Which is better? Sadharmaha vigunaha. Even if you do your work improperly, that is better for you in the point from the point of view of siddhim vindati manavaha. From that point of view, after all, your aim is to get siddhi, get jnana, get moksha. So you keep your focus on that. Don't keep your focus on paradharma. Stick to sadharma. Paradharma is dangerous. Bhagavan has said earlier also, Paradharmo bhayavaha, he has said. So the same thing has come here. Swabhavaniyatam karma kurvannapnoti kilbisham. Swabhavaniyatam karma. Whichever karma has been allotted to you based on your nature. Swabhavaniyatam karma kurvanna, doing that karma, kilbisham na apnoti. You will not incur any sin. Even if it is vigunaha, even if it is improperly done, well, this man has made an attempt to do his swadharma, let us give him marks. That is the idea. So that Bhagavan is going to be very compassionate, very generous. If you stick to your swadharma, even if you do it improperly, you will not incur any sin. Na apnoti kilbisham papam na apnoti. श्रेयान् प्रशस्यतरः स्वधर्मः विगुणः अपि अपि शब्दः द्रष्टव्यः अपि is to be taken very seriously. Shankara says because श्रेयान् स्वधर्मः विगुणः api is not mentioned here, but that is what it implied. He says paradharmat sunushthitat vigunaha api, even if it is improper, even if the swadharma is improper, if the other dharma is well done, even then, that api is important, he says. Then do that dharma properly, you won't incur any sin. Shreyan sadharmo vigunaha paradharmat sunushthitat स्वभावनियतं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्. We stop today. We meet again next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Not tomorrow because I am indisposed. I will not be able to continue tomorrow morning's lecture. So next Saturday at 7:30 p.m. IST we meet again. Any questions?
Kindly unmute and ask if you have any doubts. Any questions, please? No, sir.
No questions. Okay. नमः पार्वतीपते हर हर महादेवा सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम गोविंदा गोविंदा श्रीराजराजेश्वर्यै जय जय.
Thank you everyone for joining. We'll meet next Saturday. Hara Hara Shankara, Jai Jai Shankara. I'm ending.